Have you ever wondered why one person keeps returning to your thoughts, no matter how much time passes? Why do they suddenly cross your mind when everything is quiet? And if they truly cared, why did they create so much distance instead of coming closer? What if the silence you've been calling rejection isn't rejection at all? What if the person you can't stop thinking about has been fighting a battle you were never able to see? Could it be that fear, not a lack of love, is what has kept the two of you apart? Today, we're exploring a truth that challenges what most people believe about love and distance. By the end of this video, you may see your connection, and perhaps your own heart, in a completely different way. Stay with me, because the final insight could change how you understand silence, emotional distance, and the person who has never truly left your mind. The person who keeps appearing in your thoughts is not there by chance. There is a reason your heart keeps returning to them, and the distance between you may mean something far deeper than what you have been telling yourself. Before you go any further, take one slow breath, because this is not a simple matter of missing someone. It is about the quiet space between two people who feel more than they know how to say. When someone stays on your mind day after day, it often points to a connection that goes beyond coincidence. And if there is emotional or physical distance between you, do not assume that silence tells the whole story. Very often, the person you are thinking about cares far more deeply than they ever show. Their feelings may not appear through dramatic gestures or constant messages, but that does not make them any less real. They remember the details, the conversations, the moments that made them feel understood, and those memories continue to live inside them. So why would someone who cares so much create distance? Because love does not always make people move closer. Sometimes it awakens fear. Loving someone deeply can force a person to face insecurities, old disappointments, and wounds they never fully healed. They begin questioning whether they are enough, whether they can give you what you deserve, or whether getting closer will only lead to pain. In that struggle, distance can start to feel safer than vulnerability, even when their heart wants the opposite. That is why silence should never automatically be mistaken for rejection. The absence of visible action may simply mean they are carrying feelings they do not yet know how to express. They may still care in quiet, unseen ways, while wrestling with the fear that love will end in loss. The distance between you is not always proof that something is broken. Sometimes it is proof that real feelings are present, but fear is still stronger than courage. Instead of taking that chance, they stay silent. They choose distance not because they want to hurt you, but because they're afraid of being hurt themselves, or even worse, becoming the reason you suffer. The space they create becomes their shield, the only protection they know. Deep inside, they believe you deserve someone more emotionally secure, someone stronger, someone who already has their life completely together. One of the saddest truths is that when they look at you, they don't see someone beneath them. They see someone they feel they can't measure up to. They notice your kindness, your emotional depth, your ability to love openly, and the way you understand people. Rather than feeling inspired, they become intimidated, quietly convincing themselves, they deserve someone better. I'll only disappoint them. I'm not ready. I'm still carrying too much. I'm not healed enough. So the distance becomes a painful expression of love. Love wrapped in fear, a choice that ends up hurting both of you. While you're wondering why they never reach out, they're fighting battles you'll probably never witness. Inside their mind, nothing is peaceful. Every day becomes a conversation with themselves. Should I send a message? Should I stay away? If I come back, will I ruin everything? What if I can't give them what they need? What if I become another disappointment in their life? Their silence may look calm from the outside, but inside, it's filled with noise. They replay memories over and over. Conversations echo in their thoughts. They imagine future moments that may never happen. Every smile, every look, every word you spoke is examined repeatedly as they search for reassurance that they may never find. Even when they try to quiet their thoughts, the uncertainty refuses to disappear. They constantly compare who they are with who they believe you deserve. And in that comparison, they almost always believe they fall short. From your perspective, it may seem as though they don't care, but the reality is often the opposite. Their emotions have become so powerful that they no longer know how to handle them. They are pulled between two powerful forces. One part of them desperately wants closeness. The other is terrified of failing once they get there. The stronger the connection becomes, the greater their fear grows. They crave intimacy, yet they avoid it. They want your presence, yet they create distance. Every step away feels like a sacrifice they convince themselves is necessary. Behind every wall they've built, their heart continues beating with the same feelings they've been trying to hide. They're constantly calculating every possible outcome, trying to find a path where neither of you gets hurt. Their love is genuine, but it appears through hesitation instead of certainty. Every unanswered message, every delay, every period of silence reflects the storm taking place inside them. They're fighting battles that no one else can solve for them. Even though you may feel abandoned, their retreat isn't caused by a lack of love. It's caused by emotions that have become too heavy for them to carry with confidence. Every day they wrestle with hope, fear, longing, and uncertainty. They want to protect themselves, but they also want to protect you from the possibility of disappointment. They're afraid of losing themselves inside love. They're afraid of discovering they aren't enough. Most of all, they're afraid that someone as meaningful as you will eventually realize they aren't who you hoped they would be. Yet despite the silence, despite the distance, despite every wall they've created, their feelings remain. They still care, they still love, they still wish they could be part of your life. They're simply trapped between what their heart wants and what their fears allow. Their silence should never automatically be mistaken for emotional emptiness. More often, it's love struggling against self-doubt. They're trying to balance powerful emotions with the reality of their own limitations. They're searching for a way to love you without damaging either your heart or their own. In quiet moments, they think about you. In private, they imagine conversations they'll probably never have. In dreams and daydreams, they picture a version of life where fear no longer controls them. They continue holding on in the only way they know how, even if it doesn't resemble the kind of love most people recognize. Perhaps one day, when they've become stronger emotionally, when they've healed enough to trust themselves, when fear no longer makes every decision, they may find the courage to return. Not because they ever stopped caring, not because they suddenly remembered you, but because genuine love doesn't disappear simply because life becomes complicated. Until that day, the distance between you reflects the conflict happening inside them more than anything happening between you. It's the visible result of invisible fears, hidden insecurities, and emotions they've never fully learned to manage. They miss you more often than they'll ever admit. There is another truth that's difficult to accept. Love by itself isn't always enough. If someone is still carrying old emotional wounds, unresolved heartbreak, abandonment, betrayal, or deep fears of commitment, then love can feel threatening instead of comforting. Your closeness asks them to trust again. It asks them to become vulnerable again. It asks them to risk another painful loss. And for someone who has never fully healed, that can feel overwhelming. So they create distance, not because they feel less, but because they feel more than they know how to handle. There is also something very few people talk about. They don't completely trust themselves with your heart. They question whether they'll remain emotionally consistent. They worry they'll withdraw when things become difficult. They wonder if they'll be able to stay present when you need them most. They understand how deeply you love. They recognize your loyalty. They know your heart isn't casual. And instead of giving them confidence, that realization increases their fear. They're terrified of entering your life only to become the person who eventually breaks your heart. So distance feels safer than making promises they aren't sure they can keep. Now let's turn the focus toward you. Why does your mind keep returning to them? Because meaningful emotional connections rarely disappear the moment communication ends. Something inside you still senses unfinished emotions, words that were never spoken, questions that were never answered, a connection that never had the chance to become everything it could have been. Your mind keeps returning to them because a part of you still feels that the story isn't complete. Whether that feeling comes from hope, unanswered emotions, or the need for closure, something inside you continues searching for the ending your heart never received. When a connection ends without real closure, the mind rarely lets it go quietly. It circles back through memories, unanswered questions, and imagined outcomes, trying to make sense of what never reached its natural conclusion. Every unspoken feeling, every delayed reply, every moment of hesitation becomes part of the emotional weight you carry. This is not weakness or obsession. It is the heart recognizing that something meaningful happened, even if distance, timing, or fear kept it from fully unfolding. Real bonds do not disappear the moment contact ends. They leave echoes in your thoughts, your habits, your dreams, and the quiet places inside you where memory still lives. That is why silence can feel so powerful. Sometimes the person you are thinking about is thinking about you too, replaying conversations, wondering what might have been, and feeling the same pull they never knew how to name. Yet fear often speaks louder than love. It makes people step back when they should step forward, hide when they should be honest, and protect old wounds instead of risking new vulnerability. The distance between two people is not always proof that love is gone. Sometimes it is proof that the connection touched places they were not ready to face. Growth, healing, and emotional readiness all take time, and forcing answers before someone is ready only strengthens the very fears that keep them silent. So if your thoughts keep returning to them, do not mistake that for failure. It means the connection mattered, and it changed you in ways that cannot be measured by time or conversation alone. What you shared taught you about trust, patience, vulnerability, and the difference between someone who truly cared and someone who simply could not meet you where you stood. That truth does not diminish your worth. It reminds you that love is not always lost when it becomes quiet. Sometimes it waits, sometimes it heals, and sometimes it prepares both hearts for a future where fear no longer has the final word. Instead of taking that chance, they stay silent. They choose distance not because they want to hurt you, but because they are afraid of being hurt themselves, or even worse, becoming the reason you suffer. The space they create becomes their shield, the only protection they know. Deep inside, they believe you deserve someone more emotionally secure, someone stronger, someone who already has their life completely together. One of the saddest truths is that when they look at you, they do not see someone beneath them. They see someone they feel they cannot measure up to. They notice your kindness, your emotional depth, your ability to love openly, and the way you understand people. Rather than feeling inspired, they become intimidated. They quietly convince themselves they deserve someone better. I'll only disappoint them. I'm not ready. I'm still carrying too much. I'm not healed enough. So the distance becomes a painful expression of love, a choice wrapped in fear that ends up hurting both of you. While you are wondering why they never reach out, they are fighting battles you will probably never witness. Inside their mind, nothing is peaceful. Every day becomes a conversation with themselves. Should I send a message? Should I stay away? If I come back, will I ruin everything? What if I cannot give them what they need? What if I become another disappointment in their life? Their silence may look calm from the outside, but inside it is filled with noise. They replay memories over and over, hear conversations echo in their thoughts, and imagine future moments that may never happen. Every smile, every look, every word you spoke is examined repeatedly as they search for reassurance they may never find. Even when they try to quiet their thoughts, the uncertainty refuses to disappear. They constantly compare who they are with who they believe you deserve, and in that comparison, they almost always believe they fall short. From your perspective, it may seem as though they do not care, but the reality is often the opposite. Their emotions have become so powerful that they no longer know how to handle them. They crave intimacy, yet they avoid it. They want your presence, yet they create distance. Every step away feels like a sacrifice they convince themselves is necessary. Behind every wall they have built, their heart continues beating with the same feelings they have been trying to hide. They are constantly calculating every possible outcome, trying to find a path where neither of you gets hurt. Their love is genuine, but it appears through hesitation instead of certainty. Every unanswered message, every delay, every period of silence reflects the storm taking place inside them. They are fighting battles that no one else can solve for them. Even though you may feel abandoned, their retreat is not caused by a lack of love. It is caused by emotions that have become too heavy for them to carry with confidence. They miss you more often than they will ever admit, and they are afraid of losing themselves inside love, afraid of discovering they are not enough, and afraid that someone as meaningful as you will eventually realize they are not who you hoped they would be. There is another truth that is difficult to accept. Love by itself is not always enough. If someone is still carrying old emotional wounds, unresolved heartbreak, abandonment, betrayal, or deep fears of commitment, then love can feel threatening instead of comforting. Your closeness asks them to trust again, to become vulnerable again, to risk another painful loss. And for someone who has never fully healed, that can feel overwhelming. So they create distance, not because they feel less, but because they feel more than they know how to handle. They do not completely trust themselves with your heart, and that fear makes them pull away. Now let us turn the focus toward you. Why does your mind keep returning to them? Because meaningful emotional connections rarely disappear the moment communication ends. You deserve someone who is able to stand beside you completely, not someone who only appears when it feels safe. Never mistake the silence, the waiting, or the distance for proof that you were unloved. More often than not, those moments are part of a much bigger story, one shaped by healing, personal growth, and the timing of two lives moving at different speeds. Every emotion you've carried, every memory that suddenly returns, every moment when they unexpectedly cross your mind is evidence that what you shared had meaning. That connection changed something inside you. It revealed your ability to love deeply, to care sincerely, and to open your heart even when there were no guarantees. One day, whether life brings this person back or leads you to someone entirely new, everything you've learned from this experience will become the foundation for a healthier, more conscious, and more fulfilling relationship. Until that day arrives, don't fight your emotions. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to reflect. Allow yourself to grow. Honor what your heart experienced, even if much of it unfolded in silence. Trust the journey, respect the timing, and remember that every heart heals at its own pace. Distance doesn't always destroy love. Sometimes it transforms it. It reshapes love into wisdom, patience, compassion, and emotional strength. What feels like an ending today may simply be preparing both hearts for something they couldn't yet sustain. Your heart is evolving, your soul is gathering understanding, and the connection you shared, even if it has been placed on pause, hasn't disappeared. It continues living quietly within you, helping you understand love with greater maturity than you once could. That isn't failure, it's growth. Love doesn't always mean two people stay together forever. Sometimes love asks for distance so healing can happen. Sometimes silence becomes the space where both people discover who they truly are. Sometimes walking away is not giving up. It is allowing emotional wounds the opportunity to heal before another chapter can begin. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime. Some people enter your life to awaken something within you. They teach you about your fears. They reveal your strengths. They show you the depth of your heart. And even if they don't remain, the lessons they leave behind stay with you forever. If this person ever returns, they won't come back as the same person who left. They'll return only after fear has loosened its grip, after healing has taken place, and after they've found the courage to accept the kind of love they once struggled to receive. Until then, the distance has its own purpose. As painful and confusing as it may seem, it isn't punishment, it's a pause. A season that allows both hearts to grow separately before discovering whether they're truly ready to grow together. Before we finish, remember one truth that can change everything. Stop blaming yourself for wounds that were never yours to heal. Stop making yourself smaller just so someone else feels more comfortable. Don't silence your needs, hide your emotions, or abandon your truth while waiting for another person to become emotionally ready. If someone truly loves you and is prepared to build a future with you, they won't offer only pieces of themselves. They won't ask you to settle for uncertainty. They won't keep you waiting forever. They'll meet you with intention, with honesty, with consistency, completely. And if they cannot do that, the distance isn't proof that you weren't enough. It's life gently redirecting you towards someone who can love you with the same depth, stability, and presence that you naturally give. Never forget this. A person can genuinely love you with all their heart and still not be emotionally capable of staying. Both things can be true at the same time. Their inability to remain isn't a measure of your value. It doesn't erase the love they felt, and it certainly doesn't diminish the impact you had on their life. Although that truth may hurt, it isn't meant to break your spirit. It's meant to guide you toward the kind of love that no longer depends on fear, distance, or uncertainty. A love that grows instead of retreats. A love that remains steady instead of disappearing. A love that chooses connection even when life becomes difficult. That is the love your heart deserves. Everything you've lived through, the waiting, the questions, the memories, the silence, has not been wasted. Each experience has been quietly preparing you for a relationship where you no longer have to wonder where you stand, where love feels safe, mutual, and unwavering. And when that love arrives, you'll realize that every lesson along the way was leading you exactly where your heart was always meant to be. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all, The love that is truly meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself in order to receive it. It will never ask you to silence your heart, question your worth, or constantly wonder where you stand. Instead, it will bring clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was anxiety, and security where there was once uncertainty. Until that love arrives, continue choosing yourself. Keep healing, keep growing, keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. Because every experience you've lived through has shaped you into someone wiser than before. Every disappointment has strengthened your discernment. Every unanswered question has encouraged you to seek truth within yourself rather than chasing it from someone else. One day, you'll look back at this chapter with different eyes. The silence that once hurt you will make sense. The distance that once confused you will reveal its purpose. The person you couldn't stop thinking about will become part of the story that transformed your understanding of love, not the reason you stopped believing in it. Whether your paths cross again or remain forever apart, what truly matters is who you've become because of the journey. Love was never meant to make you smaller. It was meant to expand your heart. It was meant to teach you courage. It was meant to remind you that vulnerability is not weakness, but one of the greatest strengths a human being can possess. So don't be afraid to love again. Don't let someone else's fears become the limits of your future. Don't carry wounds that were never yours to own. Carry only the wisdom, carry the compassion, carry the strength, and leave the rest behind. Because somewhere ahead of you is a relationship where love is no longer a mystery to solve, where communication replaces silence, where trust replaces doubt, and where two people choose each other not only when life is easy, but also when it becomes difficult. That is the kind of love worth waiting for, the kind that doesn't leave you guessing, the kind that doesn't disappear when emotions become real, the kind that grows through honesty, patience, and mutual commitment. Until that day comes, let your heart remain open, but let your self-worth remain even stronger. Remember that your value has never depended on someone else's readiness. It has always existed within you. You were never too much. You were never impossible to love. You were simply waiting for someone whose healing matched the depth of your heart. And when that moment finally arrives, you won't have to chase it. You won't have to convince it. You won't have to fear losing it. Because real love doesn't leave you questioning your place in someone's life. It gives you peace, it gives you certainty, and above all, it gives you the freedom to be completely yourself. That is the love your heart has been preparing for all along. And perhaps this is where the deepest truth begins to reveal itself. Carl Jung believed that the people who move us most are often mirrors of the parts of ourselves we have not yet fully understood. Sometimes the person you cannot forget is not simply someone you loved. They become a reflection of your own inner world, awakening emotions, fears, hopes, and possibilities that had been sleeping within you. That is why some connections refuse to fade. They are not asking you to stay trapped in the past. They are inviting you to know yourself more deeply. Every longing carries a message. Every emotional wound points toward healing. Every relationship, whether it lasts a lifetime or only a season, leaves behind something valuable if you are willing to learn from it. The greatest mistake is believing that another person completes you. No one can complete what already exists within you. Love does not create your wholeness, it reveals it. The connection you experienced simply uncovered parts of yourself that had been waiting to be seen. The courage to love, the fear of loss, the desire to belong, the hope of being fully understood. These qualities did not come from them. They were always inside you. They merely awakened them. So instead of asking, why did they leave? Ask a different question. What is this experience trying to teach me about myself? That single question changes everything, because the unconscious always speaks through our relationships. The people who touch our hearts most deeply often become guides, leading us toward greater self-awareness. Whether they remain beside us or not is sometimes less important than what they awakened within you. Perhaps this connection was never meant to define your future. Perhaps it was meant to transform your inner world. When that transformation begins, you stop chasing people for answers. You begin listening to your own soul. You stop measuring your worth by someone else's ability to stay. Instead, you discover a quiet confidence that cannot be taken away. This is what Jung meant when he spoke about becoming whole. Wholeness is not finding someone who removes your loneliness. It is becoming deeply connected with yourself so that love becomes a choice instead of a desperate need. Ironically, This is also the moment genuine love becomes possible. Not because fear disappears completely, but because fear is no longer making every decision. When two people meet from a place of wholeness instead of woundedness, love no longer feels like a battle. It becomes a place of growth, a place where both people can be seen without pretending, where vulnerability is no longer weakness, but quiet strength. So if this person still lives in your thoughts, don't see it only as a story about them. See it as part of your own journey toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Whether they return or not, your deepest task remains the same. Know yourself, heal yourself, become whole. Because the greatest love you will ever experience is not simply finding the right person. It is becoming the person who no longer abandons themselves. And from that place of inner wholeness, the love that truly belongs in your life will no longer arrive as confusion. It will arrive as peace.